Based on real events, doctors told me it was sleep paralysis. They explained it calmly, like they had said the same words 1,000 times before. They talked about stress, anxiety, lack of sleep, the brain misfiring between dreams and reality. What they didn't explain was why the marks on my neck appeared only on the nights it happened. The first time I woke up already afraid. Not because I couldn't move, but because I felt too awake. I could feel the fabric of the pillowcase against my cheek. I could hear the refrigerator humming faintly in the kitchen. A car passed somewhere outside, its tires hissing on wet asphalt. This wasn't a dream. I tried to lift my arm. Nothing happened. My body felt heavy, like it had sunk into the mattress. Breathing was possible, but shallow, controlled by something that wasn't me. That's when the room changed. Not visually. Nothing moved. But the air felt different, denser, closer. I understood, without seeing anything clearly, that someone was standing near my bed. At the edge of my vision, there was a shape darker than the surrounding darkness. It didn't have a face. It didn't need one. I tried to scream. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. Then I felt fingers touch my neck. They were cold. Not squeezing, not hurting. Just resting there, lightly, as if memorizing the shape of my throat. I woke up suddenly, choking on air. The room was empty. I told myself it was sleep paralysis. The second and third nights, the second night, it returned. Same position. Same silence. But this time the fingers stayed longer. They shifted slightly, adjusting their placement. I realized then that they weren't random. They were precise. On the third night, I felt pressure before I even realized I was paralyzed. As if whatever it was had learned the exact moment my mind stopped defending itself. When I woke up that morning, my neck hurt. In the mirror, I saw faint bruises. I counted them. 5. Trying to be rational, I went to a doctor. He didn't look surprised. Sleep paralysis can feel extremely real, he said. Your brain can simulate touch, pressure, even pain. I asked about the bruises. He hesitated, then shrugged. Some people bruise easily during sleep. That night, I didn't turn off the lights. I left the TV on, volume low. I told myself that fear was feeding the problem. It didn't care about the light. The paralysis came anyway. The fingers came anyway. This time, they pressed harder. Not enough to choke me. Enough to let me know they could. I felt something else, too. Breathing, not mine. Slow, close, as if it was leaning down, listening. I set up a camera pointed at my bed. When I watched the footage the next morning, I almost felt relief. Nothing unusual. Just me lying there, tense, breathing hard. Then I noticed the timestamp, 3:17 a.m. My head snapped sharply to the side. There was no reason for it, no muscle twitch. No shift beforehand, just a sudden movement. That was the moment I remembered the fingers tightening. The first thought on the 7th night, something new happened. The pressure increased slowly, deliberately, and then a thought appeared in my mind. Not a voice, not a sound, a certainty. You wake up too easily. I understood then. This wasn't an attack. It was an evaluation. Understanding the rules, it never came when I was fully awake. It never came when I was deeply asleep. Only in that fragile space between. The moment when the mind lets go, but the body hasn't yet. That was when I was accessible. That was when it touched me. Moving away, I moved apartments, new place, new bed, new routine. For 2 weeks, nothing happened. I started sleeping again. I almost convinced myself it was over. Then one night, I woke up unable to move. And before the fear even arrived, I knew it had followed me. This time, I could see its hands. They were already on my neck. The last night, the fingers pressed slowly, patiently. I realized what it wanted, not my death, my stillness. A body that would never wake up again. I focused on one thing, moving, anything. My fingers twitched, my shoulders shifted. And suddenly I fell off the bed. The paralysis broke. The room was empty. My neck burned. Now I don't sleep in darkness anymore. I don't sleep deeply. And if I ever wake up unable to move, I fight immediately. Because I know now, it isn't a dream, and it isn't finished. Final warning, if you ever wake up paralyzed and feel fingers on your neck, don't close your eyes. because that's when it knows you're ready to stay asleep. Forever. After I fell off the bed, I didn't sleep again that night. I stayed on the floor, leaning against the wall, my back soaked in sweat, my neck burning where the fingers had been. Every sound felt amplified. Every shadow felt wrong. Morning came slowly. When sunlight finally filled the room, I felt foolish, exhausted, ashamed of how scared I had been. But when I touched my neck, my fingers found tenderness. In the mirror, there were marks again, not bruises this time. Red lines, as if something had pressed into my skin and stayed there for a long time. Keeping myself awake, I decided I wouldn't let it happen again. I changed my routine completely. I drank coffee late at night. I paced the apartment when I felt tired. I slapped my face, washed it with cold water, forced my eyes to stay open. The idea was simple. If I don't sleep, it can't reach me. By the second night, my thoughts began to blur. By the third, I started losing time. I would sit on the couch, wide awake one moment, and then realize an hour had passed without memory. That scared me more than the paralysis. Micro-sleep. On the fourth night, I learned something new. Sleep doesn't arrive all at once. It comes in pieces. I was standing in the kitchen, holding a glass of water when my vision flickered. For less than a second. Just enough. And in that fraction of a moment, I felt fingers brush my neck. I dropped the glass. It shattered on the floor. I wasn't asleep. Not fully. And it still touched me. Changing locations. I tried sleeping in different places. The couch. The bathtub. The floor. It didn't matter. The paralysis always came the same way, the same pressure, the same careful grip. What changed was the timing. It didn't wait for night anymore. Sometimes it happened during naps. Sometimes just before dawn. Once, while I was sitting upright. That was when I understood something crucial. It wasn't tied to the bed. It was tied to me. The second message, the next time it came, I didn't panic. I focused on staying aware, on remembering every sensation. The fingers pressed harder than before. My airway narrowed, and again, that thought appeared, clearer this time. You're learning to resist. My heart raced. That meant two things. First, it knew what I was doing. Second, it could adjust. Testing boundaries, I started experimenting. I slept with my phone in my hand. I slept with alarms set every 5 minutes. I slept with noise, light, vibration. Sometimes the paralysis broke quickly. Sometimes it didn't come at all. But when it did come, the grip was firmer, more confident. It was compensating. The night I almost didn't wake up. There was one night that still makes my hands shake when I think about it. I remember lying down, telling myself I would only rest my eyes for a moment. I remember thinking I was still awake. Then I felt it. The fingers didn't rest on my neck this time. They closed, slowly, completely. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. My vision dimmed at the edges. And for the first time, I felt something like impatience, like I was tired of waiting. A final thought pressed into my mind. Stay. I don't know how long it lasted. Seconds, minutes. Then my body jerked violently like it had been shocked. I sucked in air so hard it hurt. I was alive. Barely. What I know now that it isn't random. It doesn't attack blindly. It waits. It studies patterns. Sleep cycles, resistance, fear. Every time I survive, it knows a little more about me. I still feel it sometimes. That pressure at the edge of sleep. That sense of being observed from very close. And when it happens, I don't fight blindly anymore. I focus. I breathe shallow. I remind myself that waking up is still possible. For now, final addition, if you've ever experienced sleep paralysis even once, pay attention. If it starts repeating, if it starts feeling familiar, don't assume it's harmless, because some things don't come to hurt you. They come to see how long you can keep waking up.